this tension between the drive to do more, the acceptance of who we are, the wanting to show up in the world and to give it everything that we've got, and the gratitude for the things that we already have.
Yeah, well, it is a constant tension. And I think ultimately, I think you want to be biased on the being side of it. I mean, certainly if you've succeeded enough, right? Like if you recognize that you've won the lottery on some level, and you are in a position now where there are billions of people who would consider their prayers answered if they could trade places with you, right? And there'll be a time in your life where you would give anything to trade places with who you are now, right? Like when you're in your last months of life and you're terminally ill, or you've lost someone very close to you. I mean, there's like when you have this moment in the sun where things are basically going well, right? I think it's appropriate to have a module in your mind which continually pings you, which says like if you can't enjoy this, right? Like if this is going to be wasted on you, you're never going to be happy, right? Like this, you should be able to enjoy this part. Like this is dessert, right? Dessert has arrived, and whatever story you have about all the other things you might do or become, this is really like this is a wonderful life, right? So can you settle into this at all with your attention, right? And if you can't, I think that's the problem to recognize, right? Like if the thing you should want to become is someone who's better at recognizing the beauty of your life moment to moment, right? Now there's a paradox there that ultimately has to be overcome, right? Like the wanting to become more spiritual, wanting to become a great meditator, wanting to become enlightened. That's a knot that gets untied, but it's a fairly refined one. But it's just totally appropriate to recognize this mismatch between what is objectively true of your life by comparison to anything else that is on the menu, and the general mediocrity of your way of being. Just the feeling. I mean, and so this is doled out to you not in big chunks, but in moments, right? Like this is not like a grand plan. Like, okay, I got my calendar out. This month is going to be about X, and now I'm going to nail X, right? It's much more 1,000 lessons over the course of a day, right? Like you have to just be attentive to moments where you miss it, and moments where and then just recognizing that it's available now, right? Like a moment ago, you were tied in a knot somehow for some reason, things were awkward or weird, and then and now you're back, right? So like I was coming to this interview, and I was late. I was 15 minutes late, and I hate being late for whatever reason, and so I'm kind of rushing to get out of the house, and my wife has got her own day ahead of her, and she's rushing to get out of the house, and we're sort of ping-ponging around each other, and we're kind of missing each other, and in and out of the bathroom, in and out of the closet, and I say goodbye to her, but it was a sort of a goodbye like I've just completely missed her, like this beautiful woman who I've decided to spend my life with, and she's now just basically an obstacle I have to navigate around, so it would be 30 seconds earlier than I would otherwise be if I just took a moment to recognize how beautiful my life is, right? So I missed her, and then at the penultimate moment, as I'm grabbing my keys, I'm like, oh, here she is, right? And so I just stop her, I give her a kiss, and then I leave, right? And it's just the difference between finding that moment and not is enormous, right? And it's like the area under the curve could still suck a lot. It's like in the beginning, you might only have 20 moments like that a day, right? But the difference between being someone who never gets it clearly, right, and it never truly punctuates his busyness and ambition and disappointment and everything, every other module that's been installed with just clear contact with the beauty and sacredness of the present moment. That difference is enormous. And once you have those those punctate moments, and again, this is a meditation by another name, then you can have 100, and then you can have 1,000, and then the character of your life can more and more resemble the true virtues of being, even when you're still becoming. I mean, even when you have the whole apparatus of, you've got employees, you've got a calendar, you've got Slack is open all day. It's all that's happening. You can still be someone who's basically already happy, right? You're not leaning forward so much, and when you are leaning forward, part of you recognizes, okay, what's this about? Like you have a kind of mindfulness alarm that goes off when you're obviously expecting to become happy by the next thing, right? Rather than be truly taken in by that dream, part of you knows, okay, wait a minute, like just correct your posture a little bit. Like, you know that no matter how good this dinner is, it's just going to be a dinner, right? And then you're going to be too full, and then you're going to wish you hadn't eaten all that, and then you're going to find it hard to sleep, and so like you know that it can't be a matter of reaching and grabbing and fully satisfying your desire again and again and again as a way to finally become happy. You have to locate your satisfaction more and more in the state of being that is already here, that's preceding the next change. Your happiness can't be ultimately a matter of changing experience. It has to be a matter of recognizing the nature of experience. Now, that it can be, very easy to have a cynical take on that and say, okay, well, it's easy for you to say, a rich white guy for whom everything's going great and nothing bad has yet happened, and the worst thing that happened to you was on Twitter, and so go fuck yourself. But no, first of all, many bad things have happened. Like, I know what it's like to lose someone close to me. I know what it's like to worry that your kid is really sick. I know what it's like to be waiting for the MRI. Like there are all these moments where, even the luckiest among us know what it's like to live with real uncertainty and the knowledge that, ultimately every bad thing, some version of every bad thing is going to happen. I mean, even if you're the luckiest and healthiest and richest, then you're just going to be sitting by the phone, hearing that all your friends have died, right? Like, if you live to be 120 in perfect health, you're Peter Attia, and you're still doing kettlebells at 120, which
with
I hope
Andrew Huberman,
I hope you are, Peter and Andrew. Then you're just going to be getting, voicemails and texts and whatever else exists at that point, hearing that all these people you loved have disappeared, right? So no one gets out of here without a real encounter with Greek level tragedy. And the question is it possible to have a mind that can embrace that with equanimity and compassion and love and tranquility? Or do you just have to pretend none of that's going to happen? The normal mode is to try to be lucky enough so that you can pretend hard enough and long enough that none of that shit applies to me, right? Like, I'm just going to, I'm going to stay healthy for as long as I can stay healthy. I'm not going to think about cancer until somebody has cancer. It's like I'm going to extract as much pleasure as I possibly can in the moment. And, look, that Bugatti over there is mine, right? So it's like, at best, that's impermanent, right? Even if that was as satisfying as someone could pretend, and we actually know it's not, and you can know that from the inside, the more you have those experiences, it's impermanent, I mean, it's like at a certain point, Andrew Tate is going to be the 80-year-old with bad tattoos, right? Like, it's just not, it's not, it doesn't scale. Like that you need another gear. And there are many names for this. I mean, wisdom is one name, spirituality, enlightenment, awakening, meditation. I mean, all of these concepts, psychedelic experiences, all of these tools and concepts are triangulating on a part of the map where one's well-being isn't contingent upon changes in experience. There's a recognition that is possible about the nature of conscious life itself that is fulfilling.
Giving ourselves a good enough reason to just be here in the present moment.
Yeah.
In other news, this episode is brought to you by Element. Element is the way that I have started my day every single morning for over 3 years now. It is the best hydration drink that I've ever found. There's no gluten, no fillers, no artificial junk, or any other BS. It tastes phenomenal. Their orange salt flavor is absolutely outstanding. It'll help to regulate your appetite. It'll curb cravings. It'll improve brain function. And it means that you don't need to have a coffee first thing in the morning. Your adenosine system that caffeine acts on isn't even active for the first 90 minutes of the day, but salt acts on your adrenal system, and Element contains a science-backed electrolyte ratio of sodium, potassium, and magnesium. They also have a no BS, no questions asked refund policy where you can buy it 100% risk-free. And if you do not like it for any reason, they'll give you your money back and you don't even need to return the box. Head to drinklmnt.com/modernwisdom to get a free sample pack of all 8 flavors with your first box. That's drinklmnt.com/modernwisdom.